The Western movie has become an American tradition. Films like Stagecoach, Red River, Shane, High Noon, and The Magnificent Seven will never be forgotten. Now, Dino De Laurentiis presents perhaps the greatest Western of them all, The Shootist, the story of John Bernard Brooks, the last of the great gunfighters, a living legend. The role is being played by an actor who is himself a living legend, John Wayne.
I won't be wronged, I won't be insulted, I won't be laid a hand on. I don't do these things to other people. I require the same from them.
You hold it right there. Just throw me your wallet.
Yes, sir. A little something extra.
Co-starring with Wayne is a group of Hollywood's finest actors. James Stewart.
You have a cancer. Advanced.
How much time do I have?
2 months, 6 weeks. There's no way to tell.
Lauren Bacall.
Mr. Brooks, you are a notorious individual, utterly lacking in character or decency. You're an assassin.
It's going to which end of the gun you're on.
Rubbish.
Ron Howard.
Would you give me a shooting lesson?
Well, a man should know how to handle a gun.
How could you get into so many fights and then always come out on top?
I found out early that most men, regardless of cause or need, blink an eye or draw a breath before they pull a trigger. I won't.
Richard Boone.
Well, I heard that you were in town for a very short time.
That's true.
John Carradine.
I'm Hezekiah Beckett, the Undertaker, sir.
Oh, Beckham, you're going to do to me what they did to John Wesley Hardin. You're going to lay me out, let the public come by and gawp at me for 50 cents a head.
Mr. Brooks, you're a hard man.
I'm alive.
Scatman Crothers.
Mr. Brooks, it's pure pleasure to groom your horse, and even a greater pleasure to do business with you.
Harry Morgan.
Brooks, this is 1901. The old days are gone, and you don't know it. You've plain plumb outlived your time.
Richard Lenz.
You must appreciate, sir, that you are the most celebrated shootist extant.
Extent.
Still existing.
Sherry North.
Everybody knows who you are. I'd be Mrs. J.B. Brooks. I'd be somebody.
Hugh O'Brien.
Old Brooks is cashing in.
That's hard news. That's a man I could have taken.
This film has the makings of a classic.
I would not die a death like I just described. Not if I had your courage.
In it, John Wayne gives the most remarkable performance of his career.
I'm a dying man, scared of the dark.
As he recreates the final days
There's more to being a man than handling a gun.
of the man they called the Shootist.
The Shootist, 1976. John Wayne's final film. A Western co-starring James Stewart. The Last Ride, a deep dive into Don Siegel's The Shootist and the end of an era. Don Siegel's 1976 Western, The Shootist, isn't just a compelling tale of a legendary gunfighter facing his mortality. It's a poignant elegy for the vanishing Old West, a nuanced character study anchored by John Wayne's masterful performance and a deliberate exploration of the genre itself. More than a simple action-packed shoot-'em-up, The Shootist is a somber reflection on legacy, acceptance, and the inevitability of change, marking a fitting farewell to both the Duke and the era he came to embody. Set in 1901, Carson City, Nevada, the film immediately establishes a world in transition. The horse-drawn carriages of the earlier West are giving way to automobiles, and the bustling frontier towns are evolving into modern cities. This backdrop serves as a stark contrast to the presence of John Bernard J.B. Brooks, played by Wayne, a famed gunslinger whose name is synonymous with violence and legend. Brooks arrives in Carson City seeking medical attention after experiencing severe pain. Dr. Hostetler, James Stewart, a seasoned physician, delivers the grim diagnosis: terminal cancer. Brooks has at most 6 months to live, a sentence that immediately casts a long shadow over the film's narrative. This diagnosis serves as the catalyst for the film's central themes. Brooks, confronted with his impending death, is forced to confront his past and grapple with his legacy. He's not simply facing the end of his life, but the end of his era. The film avoids romanticizing the gunfighter lifestyle, but instead presents it as a brutal and often morally ambiguous existence. Books, while undeniably skilled with a gun, is not portrayed as a hero, but rather as a product of a violent time. He acknowledges the toll his life has taken, both on himself and on those around him. The relationship between Books and Bond Rogers, the widowed owner of the boarding house where he takes up residence, forms a crucial element of the film's emotional core. Bond is initially wary of Books, understanding the reputation that precedes him. She is a woman trying to build a respectable life for herself and her son, Gillum, Ron Howard, in this changing world. However, as they interact, a cautious respect and even a tender understanding develop between them. Bond sees beyond the legend of the gunfighter and recognizes the weariness and vulnerability of the man beneath. She provides him with a sense of normalcy and human connection, offering a respite from the violence that has defined his life. Gillum, on the other hand, is initially fascinated by him. He is drawn to the romanticized image of the gunfighter, the legend that has been spun around men like Books. He sees the gunslinger as a figure of power and freedom, a stark contrast to the mundane realities of his own life. Books, however, acts as a reluctant mentor, attempting to disabuse Gillum of his romantic notions and instead teaching him the realities of violence and the importance of self-reliance. He encourages Gillum to learn to shoot, not for aggression, but for self-defense, emphasizing the responsibility that comes with possessing such a skill. The portrayal of Gillum is particularly important because it represents the future. He is the younger generation coming of age in a world that is rapidly changing. His initial fascination with the Old West is gradually tempered by Books's guidance and the harsh realities he witnesses. He represents the potential for a different path, a future where violence is not the primary means of resolving conflict. The film culminates in a carefully orchestrated shootout in the saloon. Books, aware of his failing health and determined to control his own destiny, manipulates events to draw out three men who he knows are seeking to make a name for themselves by killing him. These men represent the dark underbelly of the West, the opportunistic violence that persists even as the era fades. They are not driven by honor or justice, but by greed and notoriety. The shootout itself is a masterful piece of filmmaking. It is brutal and swift, devoid of the romanticized gunfights often depicted in westerns. Books, despite his failing health, demonstrates his skill and cunning, dispatching his adversaries with ruthless efficiency. However, he is mortally wounded in the process. The final moments of the film are particularly poignant. Books, knowing that his end is near, ensures that Gillum is there to witness the aftermath of the shootout. He wants Gillum to understand the true cost of violence and to learn from his experience. In his final act, he entrusts Gillum with his guns, symbolically passing on the responsibility of controlling violence in the future. Gillum, however, rejects the legacy of the gunfighter, throwing the guns to the ground, signaling his rejection of the violent past and his commitment to a different future. The Shootist stands out from other westerns in its deliberate deconstruction of the genre. It avoids romanticizing the Old West and instead presents a nuanced and often critical portrayal of its values and its violence. The film explores the complexities of morality, the consequences of violence, and the inevitability of change. It challenges the audience to confront the romanticized image of the gunfighter and to consider the true cost of such a lifestyle. John Wayne's performance as J.B. Books is arguably one of the finest in his career. He brings a gravitas and vulnerability to the role that is both compelling and heartbreaking. Wayne, himself a symbol of the Western genre, imbues Books with a sense of weariness and regret, reflecting on a life lived in violence. Knowing that Wayne himself was battling cancer during the filming adds an extra layer of poignancy to his performance. He doesn't simply play a dying gunfighter, He embodies the acceptance of mortality with a raw honesty that resonates deeply. Furthermore, the supporting cast elevates the film. James Stewart, as Dr. Hostetler, provides a voice of reason and compassion, offering Books a medical perspective on his impending death. Bond Rogers brings a strong female presence to the film, challenging Books's worldview and offering him a glimpse of a different kind of life. Ron Howard, as Gillum, embodies the hope for a future free from the violence of the past. The film's success is also due to Don Siegel's direction. He masterfully balances the action sequences with the more introspective moments, creating a film that is both thrilling and thought-provoking. Siegel's use of location shooting lends the film a sense of authenticity, while his deliberate pacing allows the audience to fully engage with the characters and their emotions. In conclusion, The Shootist is more than just another Western, it's a cinematic masterpiece that transcends the genre. It's a poignant and thought-provoking exploration of mortality, legacy, and the changing face of the American West. Anchored by John Wayne's unforgettable performance, the film serves as a fitting elegy for both the Duke and the era he helped to define. It's a film that lingers in the mind long after the credits roll, prompting reflection on the complexities of the past and the possibilities of the future. Ultimately, The Shootist underscores the importance of embracing change, learning from history, and striving for a future where violence is no longer the defining characteristic of society. It's a reminder that even legends must eventually fade, and that the responsibility for shaping the future rests with the next generation.